When someone's placed in an acting boss position, which typically happens when the official boss is incarcerated, it's basically the boss putting all his faith and confidence in that person. Let's use the Lucchese family as an example. Vic Amuso, over the decades of his incarceration, has put quite a few guys in the acting position. To be perfectly honest, greed was the underlying factor. After all, Vic wanted to ensure that whoever had the position would act on his behalf and keep the money flowing. If anyone believes Vic chose people for the goodness of the family, you're sadly mistaken. And to prove this point, one of the people he picked was Joe DeFiti, who had absolutely no leadership skills whatsoever. Years ago, he was Vic's handball partner, but for whatever reason, Vic felt he could trust him to funnel whatever money he had coming. At the time, DeFiti was running a number spot out of a hot dog truck. Following Vic's June 1991 arrest, records from the Bureau of Prisons indicated that DeFiti was a constant visitor of Vic, and in the visiting room, they would whisper the ongoings of Lucchese business. And essentially, DeFiti became Vic's guy to send and receive messages. In time, Vic made him the acting boss, and this took place after Al Diaco, the acting boss before him, was labeled and targeted by the Lucchese's and began cooperating. A major mistake that Vic made was having DeFiti come up to visit him and using him as a messenger. The FBI zeroed in on DeFiti as they would anybody sending and bringing messages to an incarcerated boss. If Vic had intentions of putting him up in the acting position, he should have never placed his name on his visitors list. This was an inexcusable oversight. Nonetheless, DeFiti's fall from grace with the Lucchese family took place when he was caught skimming approximately $1 million. He was questioned about the missing money, and as a result, somehow he caught wind or suspected that he was marked for death. And in February 2002, he went to the FBI and began cooperating. Maddie Madonna was infamously known as Nicky Barnes' supplier during the late 1970s. And after his drug trafficking conviction in 1976, he was sentenced to 30 years, although he actually served 32 years. During his incarceration, precisely towards the end, he was locked up with Vic. And upon his release, Maddie was inducted into the Lucchese family, fast-tracked to a captain position, and in and around 2009, he became the acting boss. As most viewers are aware, Maddie's the person who led my induction ceremony. Many Lucchese members liked him, as I did, but there were some who felt that he too didn't deserve the position. For a boss, Maddie was a very loud and boisterous guy. Prior to my induction, he and his administration decided to kill Lucchese associate and former leader of the East Harlem Purple Gang, Michael Meldish. This murder has literally become known as the last mob hit. If history's taught the mob anything, it's that murders and violence bring tremendous law enforcement heat. We now live in a world of cameras. Everything we do, all our travels, are filmed. Additionally, I've mentioned this subject on numerous occasions, and that is confidential informants. These are people, members and associates, who provide the FBI with up-to-date intel on all the families, which essentially equates to the FBI knowing everything the mob is up to. A murder conspiracy includes not only the person or people who commit the actual act, but everyone involved, including those who ordered it. I believe Maddie was banking that the Meldish murder would be blamed on the Bonanno family. As most viewers are aware, Meldish had a volcanic relationship with the Bonannos, so much so that he was assaulted by a few of their members and retaliated by having another member shot. The sanction hit on Meldish played a significant role in dismantling the Lucchese family. The hit took place on November 15th, 2013, while Meldish was sitting in his car in the Bronx. By May 2017, the government indicted 19 members and associates of the Lucchese family, including the entire administration. The charges were racketeering, extortion, drug trafficking, loan sharking, and murder, specifically the Michael Meldish murder, which became the focal point of the trial, which took place in 2019, and where Maddie, Stevie Crea the underboss, and member Christopher Londonio were all convicted and given life sentences. Prior to all of this, Maddie made one of the all-time errors in judgment, one for the history books. One thing that was common knowledge was if a guy was with Vic in the same prison and they became close, Vic would go out of his way to help that person, just like he did for Maddie. Another such person was Robert Spinelli, a Lucchese associate who was involved in the attempted hit on the sister of former Lucchese captain Pete Chiodo. Spinelli was about to be released, and Vic not only wanted to reward him for his loyalty, but set him up financially in a big way. Over and above that, as mentioned, Spinelli was just an associate, so Vic also wanted to have him inducted into the family. So how was Vic going to make all of this happen? He sat down and wrote a letter to his acting boss, Maddie Madonna, basically instructing him to induct Spinelli and give him $1 million. Money that would come from the sale of the Avellino's company, where $3 million was kicked up to the Lucchese administration. Money that also took Sally Avellino off the shelf. $1 million off the top went to Vic. Another $1 million went to the Lucchese administration. And there was a remaining $1 million, and Vic decided to give it to Spinelli. He sealed the letter and gave it to the soon-to-be-released Spinelli to personally hand to Maddie. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the super thanks icon down below or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. It can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. Maddie eventually receives the letter and obviously reads it and decides to disregard Vic's wishes, or better yet, his instructions. Instead, he pockets the extra $1 million for himself and offers Spinelli a construction job and never inducts him into the family. In Maddie's head, he had all his bases covered. The only thing is, on the bus ride home from prison, Spinelli opened and read the letter and then resealed it. And guess who began cooperating with the FBI and was considered a key witness against Maddie and his co-defendants at the 2019 trial? You got it, Spinelli, who, from what I was told, when the FBI approached him, he volunteered to wear a wire. For him, it was payback time. Maddie and his greed may have caused all of the above, but Vic and Vic alone is to blame. He made numerous questionable decisions and repeatedly chose people who either cooperated or ended up imprisoned themselves. But more than that, he let his personal paranoia and vindictiveness dictate decisions, most of which ended badly.